Alabama continues to cruise as they beat LSU and continue to march on to what looks like the SEC championship game, the college football playoff in the least. Appreciate you guys joining us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Almost to 200K. You could be the subscriber that gets us there. As usual, David Cohn, former Michigan quarterback, Blaine Crain, former Western State, Colorado wide receiver. And David, I'll start with you. Look, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't sexy. But in an Alabama LSU game, at least if you've grown up in the era that we have, you just want to win this one and survive. And maybe the biggest note that will come out of this, outside of Alabama winning, moving to 8-1, 6-0 in the SEC, is Garrett Nussmeier getting benched for Michael Van Buren Jr., the most exciting Van Buren we've had since Martin. But just what do you think? Again, Alabama, not pretty, but they win a game they have to win, and they continue to march on.
On the Garrett Nussmeier point, man, what a fall from grace. A 4,000-yard passer a season ago. Now you're getting removed from games. We thought he might be a first-round pick or maybe the number 1 overall pick and stay in New Orleans and go to the Saints. Obviously, it's been all sorts of struggles down there. But Alabama just continues to roll, and again, finding ways to win when they don't particularly run the ball well. They had the same amount of rushing yards tonight as LSU at 59 rush yards, lost the time of possession. This is what I was saying in our preview. They've won in so many different ways that I think the only way someone can beat them is to force turnovers. And my eyes got really big when there was a forced strip sack fumble on Ty Simpson. Like, okay, maybe this is, get the ball in plus territory. Maybe they go down and score. LSU did kick a field goal on that, but still, LSU lost the turnover battle, and Alabama just continues to cruise. And I'll say another thing we talked about in our preview with the struggles that LSU has had on the offensive line. Well, Alabama on defense just say, hey, let's see if we can just get pressure with 4 and not bring pressure so that we can cover more on the back end. And they said, you know what, we'll do you one better. Let's just rush 3 and drop 8 and see if we can get pressure. They were getting pressure on LSU with only rushing 3. It's amazing what the defensive unit is doing too when all their guys are healthy.
Well, Blaine, we said, look, the interim bump doesn't replace this offensive line that was the biggest bugaboo as of late before the defense got fixed by Blake Baker, and I think was the ultimate downfall of Brian Kelly. But, we sit here and say, can Bama win a national championship by the way that they're playing with a lack of a run game? And yet, and I'm not saying LSU is world beaters by any stretch of the imagination, but once again, to Cohn's point, Alabama doesn't run the ball well at all, and they still find themselves winning by double digits in a big game in a year and in a context of college football where we don't have that unbelievably elite dominant team in all aspects. Alabama's got to be right up there.
I mean, Alabama, you're to the point now is just winning in advance. And you would think sooner or later, if you can't run the ball, it's going to come back to bite you in the ass, but not with this team. And it goes back to really, and y'all bring this up a lot, that only loss, that Florida State loss, happening so early for Alabama. Look, you never want to come out and lose a football game. But I really do think this loss flipped the switch for this team. And on the LSU side, it needs to be studied. It needs to be studied who Garrett Nussmeier is. I mean, he's basically the guy from Split. It's not like you have a lack of receivers or a lack of talent at running back. Look, your offensive line's not great. I know that. But usually with this type of talent, you can somewhat replace that, and you haven't seen that. And I still thought for LSU to win this football game, I thought it had to be a high-scoring game for them to win. It's just tough to beat this Alabama team, especially when it's low-scoring. But I do think LSU did some things good. There's something to look forward to. I'm a Frank Harris guy. I like him. Obviously, he's not going to be the
Frank
head
Wilson.
coach. Frank Wilson, excuse me. Yeah. Just the way he's such a player's coach, and I can understand that. But LSU, with all the distractions, it's a tough loss. Hell, I'm glad you kept it close. I thought this was going to be somewhat of a beatdown being in Alabama. So great football game. It felt like an old school LSU Alabama football game, but just not as precise and talented and from an execution standpoint.
Well, I mean, David, is it as simple on the LSU side as Garrett Nussmeier is not a dual threat guy? So if your offensive line isn't capable and you have no run game, there really is no escape when you look at his skill set.
Yeah, I understand that point. Obviously, it would make it a lot easier if he were Lamar Jackson, right, and could get out of trouble a little bit
Yeah.
more. But still, I've watched the guy time and time and time again put the ball in harm's way. That's on you at some point, and not move well inside the pocket. Look, Dan Marino and Tom Brady were two of the slowest quarterbacks you've ever seen, but inside the pocket they were Houdini, right? And a lot of that is pre-snap recognition and know where to go with the football. And he's still a coach's son. I'm still excited to see what Garrett Nussmeier can do from here, how he can handle the adversity. But on the other side, man, I mean, Ty Simpson, we were talking about Alabama coming into the year with a new guy. Like, what's he going to bring? Like, we know Garrett Nussmeier. What's Ty Simpson going to do? And this kid just continues to deliver in big moments. There's a reason he's leading in the Heisman Trophy race right now. He did miss a couple throws tonight, which when you see him miss a throw, that's what really sticks out because he's so automatic. But I think he had, what, 6, 7, maybe even 8 completions over 15 yards down the field. Truly incredible. And another thing I wanted to say on the defensive side of the ball, you know, LT Overton continues to make plays time and time again. But there was a new name I was writing down multiple times tonight, London Simmons, showing up in big moments there on that front for Alabama. So again, that unit continues to get better and better, which you talk about these championship weeks and months heading into SEC championship. That's the unit I think that they're going to need to see a lot of improvement on. And man, they're delivering it in my book.
Well, I mean, I'm to the point now, guys, in this season. And if you look at Alabama, after this win over LSU, they host Oklahoma in a game. They'll be a favorite. They'll beat Eastern Illinois. Then they go to Auburn. You know, you beat Oklahoma, you know for sure you're in the college football playoff. But, you know, does that automatically put you in the SEC championship? You feel like it doesn't right now because Georgia won and A&M won, even though you have the tiebreaker over Georgia. But does it feel safe to say at this point, if you were drafting Alabama quarterbacks over the last 20 years, I would take Ty Simpson before A.J. McCarron. I would take Ty Simpson before Jake Coker. I would take Ty Simpson before Greg McElroy. And I would take Ty Simpson before Blake Sims and John Parker Wilson, if we're being honest.
It'd be Tua and Jalen Hurts, right?
I mean, Tua took over.
Bryce won the Heisman.
And Bryce won the Heisman.
And Bryce, let's be honest, though. I mean, if you had a top 3 you had to pull from or a top 3 you had to choose, would Ty Simpson be in the top 3 of Alabama quarterbacks over the last 20 years? It's hard to say no to that.
Well, after Richard Todd, for sure. As long as we
Well,
got Richard Todd up there in the top spot. Yeah. Whoa, he's not that old. Okay, show a little respect. But because my father-in-law did play quarterback for Bear Bryant, I'm always not only asking him, but everyone around that building for the last 5, 6, 7 years, I've asked him, like, hey, what's the consensus inside the building? Because prime Tua, I didn't think it got any better than prime Tua if you just take the injuries out of the equation, which I know you can't really do that. But a lot of people around Tuscaloosa thought Bryce Young, who won the Heisman Trophy, was the best that they had seen. But I'm watching Ty Simpson make throws that just, it boggles the mind, man. What do you think, Blaine?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm taking Bryce. I'm taking Bryce over Ty Simpson. I think you can have an honest conversation about Ty being in the top.
How big
3.
is the gap, though?
I think Ty pushes the pocket better. I didn't think Bryce pushed the pocket better.
I don't think the gap's that big.
Bryce in college was so nasty, dog.
Yeah, well,
so
Ty's nasty.
But he's a different type of nasty.
Well, I mean, what's the difference?
I would say Ty's a pure thrower.
Which is crazy because he was the dual threat guy.
Yeah.
I mean, they're running power read tonight with him, for God's sakes.
And I think Bryce was a better anticipatory thrower. That doesn't say Ty Simpson's Bryce. I don't say Ty Simpson's a bad one. That's what I'm saying. But Bryce was anticipating like the next natural disaster, right? It's like that kid in college was different.
Well, I want to shift it to this though too. All right, after this win tonight, 20-9. You beat LSU, you move on. Indiana survives a 3-5 Penn State team.
Good Penn State team.
A good Penn State performance.
Yeah, good Penn State performance. I think that's a good.
And I just want, before you move on, just because I don't want to forget this, out of all the Alabama quarterbacks we just talked about, it was Jalen Hurts who not only won the Super Bowl but was the MVP in the game. How wild is that?
Yeah, that is just the bag is very deep. The bag is very deep there in T-Town. But looking forward, look, BYU loses now. which is great for Bama, which
Mm.
you feel like if everything happens the way that it looks like it's going to happen and Bama wins out, you win the SEC championship, you're for damn sure a top 4 seed. But when you look at this Alabama team, when we see Ohio State 1, when we see Indiana 2, when we see A&M 3, Blaine, I want to start with you. And then Bama pops up at 4. They're definitely 4 now that BYU lost and wouldn't jump on being undefeated. Should Alabama be ahead of any of the undefeated teams right now?
No. No. I mean, you lost to Florida State at the beginning of the year, and look what Florida State is now. I will say this. I mean, after this week, and all my A&M fans will appreciate it, I think right now A&M's the best team in the country.
Dude,
I'd rank them.
nasty.
I'd probably go A&M, Ohio State, Indiana. I will say this about
you'd keep Indiana in front of Bama right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's undefeated Indiana.
Okay.
I think they've deserved that mark at 3. I will say this about Ohio State. I don't think we know the truth about Ohio State yet. I think they're better than what we're seeing right now. I don't know if they've really had to hit the gas pedal to the floor.
Yeah.
Right? Like we saw kind of they turned it on into the playoffs. We haven't seen Ohio State with the life or death yet. Right?
Well, yeah, that's
what's just scared the shit out of you, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think they're just rolling the ball around right now for fun, right? But I think when they really turn on the heat, you'll see kind of you'll see it turn into the Lamborghini.
I agree with that, but I'm just wondering when they're forced to have to do it, will they be able to if they hadn't been battle tested?
Well, that was my whole point during our power rankings this week. Like I've watched Bama be battle tested. I've watched Indiana be battle tested. I've watched Texas A&M be battle tested. Like with Ohio State, yeah, you got battle tested with, Team U Arch Manning.
Texas was a good game
at the beginning of the year. But again, like we know the talent that's on that roster. It just feels like right now Ohio State is just the best looking person that walks into a house party, but you haven't been on the runway yet with the Victoria's Secret models.
Yeah,
we don't know. Like,
it feels like you're a 5-star running back in a 2A division, right? That's what it kind of feels like to me. But like, what would we be considered? A test. I mean, would Michigan be considered a test?
Well,
I think it's not.
It matters how the game plays out.
Yeah,
right?
that's my thing. It's
more
how
than
the game.
It's not the quality opponent.
Well, no, I mean, look, South Carolina gave Alabama a great test. Sure. I didn't think on paper in our preview that would necessarily be a close game, but like that's the point is like any of these teams can go any week and lose a game. I'm watching Cal right now just upset Louisville. I mean, that's the point is like
Adam plus 18.5.
You can get tested from any sort of opponent, and anytime you get tested gives you an opportunity to showcase your resolve, which is why I feel even better about the way Indiana came back and beat Penn State to face that sort of adversity on the last drive against a great second half performance from Penn State. Regardless if you think they're a good team or what's happened ever since they lost to Oregon and fired their head coach, that second half performance was for real, and Indiana still came back and beat them. I think that's going to serve them well in the postseason.
Well, I think the overarching thing from this instant reaction is if you got a question, just get tested. Just get tested. Everybody should just get tested for it. Because, again, you need to know. We all need to know. But in the comments, don't let us know if you got tested, but just let us know what you think about Alabama beating LSU. I mean, look, you can say what you want. It's America. It's a free
Who's going to be the next head coach at LSU?
God, it feels like Lane, doesn't it?
Dave?
I don't know.
Dave?
They'll go Joe Brady. They'll get the band back together.
I think they'd love it. I think they'd love it. That man can really spice the gumbo. But all right, in the comments, let us know what you think about the game. Alabama beats LSU, continues to roll. The turmoil in LSU is going to be interesting to watch. We appreciate you watching us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you keep checking out Crain & Company.